Hey guys, my name is John Kim. I'm a licensed therapist and life coach, putting self betterment into a shot glass. Because let's face it, who's got that much time these days? I come unpolished, unrehearsed, on purpose. If you're looking for more of a wine glass, you've come to the wrong place. If I hold up an apple in my hand, of course it would be my hand. I don't know how else people hold apples. Maybe it would be on my head with my feet. Anyway, if I hold up an apple, you and I would agree that that is an apple, but we may feel different things because our relationship with that apple may be different. So, for example, if you grew up with your mom making you homemade apple pies every Sunday, which was not the case for me. um, I actually bought apple pie. Those remember those in the '80s those fruit pies. They had like 300 grams of sugar. That's my version of an apple pie. At the liquor store, I got those. But like if your mom made homemade apple pies with real apples from your apple tree in the backyard, and there was this whole process to it, and it was like it was like a thing, right? Like you guys picked the apples, she baked them, and you guys sat around and ate the apple pie and had milk or whatever. That experience would bring up, or that memory would bring up a lot of good feelings and nostalgia and love when you see apples or hold apples in your hand. Now, if you were pegged by apples by all the neighborhood kids every time you rode your bike, right? When you see an apple or when you held up an apple or ate an apple, you would probably feel anger or I don't, you definitely have a different feeling, right? And I say this because there's this famous and you probably know this. I learned about it in therapy school, but it's a very common saying, and it's basically don't see the world as it is; we see the world as we are, and this is so true when it comes to relationships, when it comes to events, life transitions, what someone says to us, someone's behavior toward us, whatever. Everyone reacts differently depending on their story, right? So if someone said something to me, I may act differently than if that same person said the exact same thing to you. And what's interesting is that then that means that that there's almost like there's no truth, there's only our truth, right? And so the value in this concept is we have to be aware of how we see things. We have to be aware that sometimes what something brings up in us, whether it's a person, a situation, an event, a lot of our reaction and response and what comes up is, well, I mean, more than a lot. It's tied to what we've been through. It's tied to, I mean, it's a string that if you follow, it just goes on and on, kind of threaded throughout our whole story. I mean, all the way to childhood, right? So let me give you another example. If you've been in nothing but relationships where you've been cheated on, right? And let's say it even started before that. Maybe it started with you as a kid learning at age 9 that your father cheated on mom many times, right? And like how crushing that was, or how that instantly changed your relationship with not only your dad but the way you saw men. That imprint, that is going to wire you a certain way, right? That's going to create a certain belief. That's going to taint your lens with love, with men, with all of that. And so you get into relationships, and maybe that continues to happen. That theme that men keep cheating on you. Then, when you meet someone who is not a cheater, it's you're going into it you're going into it loaded, and I don't mean drunk. You're going, or maybe I don't know. You're going into it with the lenses of someone who has certain beliefs and definitions, right? And they're not neutral, meaning it's not truth. It's just your story and the way that you see men be, and it's fair, it's totally fair because you've experienced in your story men to constantly cheat, right? So then the belief that you form is that men are not faithful, and then so because of that belief you may be like, well, then what's the point? Or I'm going to cheat first, or I'm not going to get close to someone, or and all of that kind of is running underneath, right? All of that is running possibly in your subconscious. And a lot of growth, a lot of therapy, a lot of self-betterment is making the subconscious conscious, making what you're not aware of aware of it, of aware, like bringing that to the surface, so then you see things more clearly, right? I think that's half of the work, awareness. And then I think the other half, of course, is execution, right? Then it's like making choices, behavior, putting yourself in situations where you realize that, oh, this person didn't cheat on me, right? Giving yourself new experiences. And I think by doing so, you slowly change your lenses.
We'll be right back after this brief message.
I don't know about you, but my gut is all kinds of fucked up and I am bloated all the time. Did you know that your gut bugs can control your energy production and even body shape? When you cut out sugars to lose fat, your gut bugs, now that sounds kind of gross, lie dormant and wait. Plus, they also shoot out eggs. When the sugar comes back, they wake up all the eggs and then the eggs hatch. And this is why we get rebound weight gain and bloated so easily after losing weight. ATP Science created a new product called Gut Right. And I want you guys to check this out. Here's what Gut Right does. It stops the overgrowth of normal bugs that immune burden and toxicity systematically. Gut Right replaces the missing modbiotics in our diet, just like multivitamins can replace the missing vitamin. So get your gut right today. Visit atpscience.com/get gut right and get 20% off your first order. Plus, you get free shipping when you use the coupon code AngryTherapist. Go to atpscience.com/get gut right, and you get 20% off your first order if you use the coupon code, all caps, AngryTherapist, and get your gut straight as I am doing. Now, if you're not aware of this process and you only see the apple as a negative bad thing that constantly you dodged because they were being thrown at you, and that apple represents all the kids that hated you. That apple represents a horrible childhood and pain and isolation and all of that, bruises. Then you're not going to eat an apple. Right? You're when you see the apple, there's going to be a subtle, or maybe not so subtle, fight or flight going on, right? It's going to trigger you. And so when you think about your life, and I don't know what's going, what's coming into your life now, if maybe because the road forks constantly, right? The road in life is always forking every day. And what I mean by that is there's always an opportunity to see something the way that you normally see it based on your story, and that's going to create a certain path. It's going to create a certain relationship. It's going to create a certain mindset, feeling, right? And then there's also going to be a choice to make a left. There's going to be a choice to see something differently. And this is the work, this is where it's hard. This is where you have to be not only aware, but make a conscious choice. And maybe this requires hopping the fear wall because it's going to be uncomfortable. Maybe this requires trusting someone for the first time. Maybe this requires showing yourself when you have had consequences before when you did so. Maybe this requires establishing a new relationship with the object. And the object is in quotes because the object could be anything. It could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be, you being fired from work. I don't know. But whatever that is triggering and whatever that is tied to the past, that will always have power over you if your lenses don't change. So you will always, just your knee jerk, your default will always be taking the same, at that fork at the road, taking the same direction, the same path, if you're not aware of how it's tied to your story and making a decision to actually go on a new path. And the path isn't going to be easy, I'm sure. There's going to be instant discomfort because you're not used to it, because it's hard for you, because it may be a muscle you have not exercised. But what's the alternative, right? To see the world just through your discolored lenses because of what you've been through. And if you do that, your world's going to be very small, and there isn't going to be a lot of expansion, right? You're going to basically what I call create your own prison. You're not going to evolve and expand and get past what happened. So I don't know where you're at. I don't know what part of your life is bringing you anxiety and resistance. I don't know at what fork at the road that you're standing in front of, but some are big, some are small. It happens daily. Try to make that left. Try to give yourself a new experience. Try to see something through a different lens. What's helpful is to actually, especially the people that you trust and love and that are around you, try to see it how they would see it. Actually have a conversation about it and be objective instead of defensive. And maybe that would be helpful. So you're actually getting possibly, you're getting a different story, but maybe you're getting a healthier story, right? And I don't want to, I don't want to say that your story is bad, because I'm such a firm believer in our stories. I don't believe in bad. I believe in character arcs. I believe that all our stories are beautiful. But I do think that some people have healthier stories when it comes to the stuff that they've been through. And it doesn't mean that you're unhealthy. I don't think anyone's broken. I think we're all becoming, right? But if you could see your situation or a person or whatever through a different lens, and this is why therapy and life coaching is so powerful. Part of that process is actually seeing your situation through a different point of view. And that is so helpful, because that sheds light on something that was possibly dark, and then suddenly you see the silver lining, or you have a revelation, you have an aha moment. You realize that what you believe actually isn't true, and then that kind of creates less fear, and then you move forward, you make different choices, and now at the fork in the road, you start to make a left, and this creates new wiring, creates new experiences. And this is what expansion and evolution looks like and growth looks like. If not, you're repeating old patterns and just living in the past. Guys, I want to tell you about an audio course. It's called No More Unhealthy Relationships. Speaking of old patterns and all of that, if you are or have been in unhealthy relationships, toxic relationships, I have like a 9-hour audio course, and it's all about the refusal to be in unhealthy relationships. So it's like my podcast, Super Casual. You could find it on my Instagram at The Angry Therapist. Click my bio link, or just go to my website, theangrytherapist.com, and check that out. And maybe that will give you some new lenses with building a relationship that may be finally healthy. Hey, 2 things. 1, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me. And 2, if you find any of this dialogue helpful, please share it with someone who you believe it can help as well. The whole point of this is to create a conversation that can help others. And also, if you want me in your phone, I am now sending text once a week to people. All you have to do is text the number 55222. Keyword angry, all caps, ANGRY, and I will send you a text about once a week. This is not a bot. This is directly from me. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, if you have a passion to help others and want to become a life coach, or you just want to acquire tools to change your own life, learn more about our Catalyst Life Coaching Intensive. We are an evidence-based training program with an amazing, authentic, vibrant community, and we give lifetime support. Just go to my website, theangrytherapist.com, and click on Life Coach Training.